Morning at NTV. We are live from Kampala Serena Conference Center. Those joining us just this early morning, great to have you. I'm Andrew Chamagero Muntu. Now, many people think that they know how one would react if they were raped or sexually assaulted. It's often assumed that when a person is assaulted in this way, they will, for instance, scream or appear agitated, and that they will fight back. However, the truth is nobody knows how, when, and how they will possibly react. And although some people do respond in this way, it's very common for someone who is raped or violated this way to differently just go quiet. We might expect to speak to us about this. We are having Mr. John Mayanja, an activist fighting for this. But before going through this conversation, let's take a look at the story we ran, I think, 2 weeks ago about a young girl who was impregnated by an LDU.
This girl, whose identity has been concealed, was reportedly defied by an LDU personnel in Machinde Division, Kampala. According to the girl, her stepfather used to abandon them with a neighbor whom she claims used to embezzle their upkeep money and feed them on posho provided by an LDU officer. The tragedy is said to have happened on the 30th of July 2020, but the lady who used to stay with her barred her from reporting to her stepfather. The Area Defense Secretary Dennis Biamukama says that he reported the case to Chikajo police, and since then he has been receiving threatening phone calls from an individual who claims to be a lieutenant in the Uganda People's Defense Forces.
Ngakale bagezaako okunvunaana lwaki nze nagulawo keesi nembagamba first of all nze am a leader ku kyalo ate ekirala nga bo baagala mbalage ani yaleeta ki source of information.
Abbas Lukenge, the girl's stepfather, says that his attempt to seek justice too ended in threats from the suspect nicknamed Jamilu Teacher.
Ati omukyala omwana ndowooza yali agenda kuŋŋamba, omukyala ne yeebuzaabuza n'akubira Owerudiyu. Mukubiro yo Owerudiyu yatoosa buzibu ku mwana wange. Owerudiyu yaŋŋamba kimu, ssebo oyo omwana mbadde abeera awo naye engeri gy'ayogeramu omwana wo museegu. Kati nze ne mubuuza mazima matuufu ne mugamba omwana wange wamanya nti museegu gw'otabeerangako naye.
Kampala Metropolitan spokesperson Patrick Onyango told us how they are progressing with the matter.
The case was still being investigated, and since the police force could not manage the magnitude of the file, they decided to forward it to Katwe Police Station, which is the main station.
The Legal Aid Service Providers Network organization has intervened to fast-track this process.
So police couldn't support the child to get medical examination until the father mobilized some funds, and on 18th, the girl was taken for medical examination and police form 3, a field.
Nawenue says they are considering dragging police and the UPDF to court for foul play if they see no progress.
Even after the girl, the victim could clearly identify the suspect and knows the suspect by name and by face and knows where he is. But the police put there that the suspect is unknown, which was very unfortunate and unbecoming. So we feel that this is the security forces taking care of their own, but in a very, very unbecoming way. Because the girl got problems, serious medical problems, she started giving off an awful smell.
We spoke to the woman alleged to have been keeping watch of the child on phone, but she insisted she was innocent. Solomon Kawesa, NTV.
Well, that was a story we ran a few weeks, 2 weeks ago to be exact, with our colleague Solomon Kawesa. The same conversation relates to a Wanalule who is in the side of Boyogere, Wabigalo, to be exact. Joining us for this conversation is Mr. Joshua Mayanja from Teenage Mothers and Child Support Foundation in Boyogere. Good to have you, Mr. Mayanja.
Thank you, sir.
Now, for starters, this that is all happening about children during COVID-19 getting pregnant,
Yeah.
and being impregnated by the assumed protectors, if I should say. What do you make of this?
Good morning, Ugandans. I think we have a problem in our country right now. There is a lot of relaxity in law enforcement by the government. You see, if the police that is supposed to be protecting themselves are the one abusing the children, I wonder and I ask myself, where are we going as a nation? So I would call upon all the CSOs who are protecting or advocating for the actualization of the young girls' rights to come, and we use this case of Narule as a case study to show Ugandans and government that we are not going to go silent when it comes to abusing.
Mr. Mayanja, when you look at the biggest push factor here is the lockdown possibly one of those that people are so reluctant, they're so at home, there is a lot of dilly-dallying and laxity in what to do that they have resulted to this, or have we lost the morals just as a nation?
I think we've just lost all of them. You see, if you are at home, what happened, you know, under the lockdown, people didn't expect it.
Of course, it was abrupt.
It was abrupt. You realize that parents were busy working. They never had time with their children. And now the government comes out and say, all of you home. Do you get my point? So everyone being home, we expected that most parents were going to give enough time to their children.
Alas, they didn't.
They didn't. They relaxed. They are frustrated. They are losing jobs.
That's depression again.
Yes. So now, instead of having that time with their children to talk to them, to find out, and actually most parents actually have been disappointed with what they have been seeing at home with their children. Because most parents, before the COVID, they used to leave all the responsibilities with the schools.
And the maids.
And the maids. And shockingly, now they are home with their children and they are seeing that children are doing opposite. They forgot that they are parents. It's just not about being a father or a mother, but you have to be a parent.
You have to be inclusive in what you do with the children.
Yes. So,
the case of Narule and the case we've just run here of a young girl, 13-year-old, to cry out loud. Let's talk about the drugs. Can someone attribute this going on to drugs or something of the sort?
No, I wouldn't think so.
So what are some of the pushing factors to this? Because now your organization, Teenage Mothers and Child Support Foundation, they deal a lot with these cases, and I'm sure your research captures part of this. What could be the pushing factors to this?
One, I would not say it's poverty, as most Ugandans think. They say
poverty does not tell you to just grab a juvenile, and you know.
It's not poverty. It's to me, I think, as I said, we have over-relaxed.
As a nation.
As a nation. If we have policies that are not active, the law enforcers are not enforcing the policies that are in place, the civil societies, we come out and push the government to do these things. Civil
society is known when we're having the budgets, when you're having elections like now. Those ones are very active. But when it gets to issues of child support and protection, your NGOs and civil societies like yours, everyone seems to be standing on their own island. And so you think if this policy comes up, if we have an amendment to the law, do you think we are going to see the green light on the other side?
Yeah, I would really expect that. For so many reasons, I believe that if there is a way we can go back and restructure our policies and also try to push the people responsible to enforce these laws, it could help somehow, somewhere.
The government in the recent past has come out strongly saying that everyone must protect the girls and the children to be exact, in the different areas where we stay.
Yeah.
What do you make of the support structures in our society? Me, when I grew up, everyone had a right to spank me or to beat me in case I was misbehaving in one way or the other. Do you see that in today's community, and how has that affected or in one way or the other amplified this abuse of children sexually?
To me, I think there is, as you know, I will always come back to the relaxity of communities, parenting. We have lost our culture. When you talk about you grow up being beaten and someone telling you don't do this, don't do that, it is no more. You know, everyone says this is my child.
Oh yes. Today everyone wants to protect
their child, but they're not actually protecting them. They are not. It's my child. It's her right.
Right. Everyone says it's
you know,
right.
It's right.
So while we are drumming more for the child rights, do we take time to equally tell them their duties?
No. Now that's where the problem is. Most children don't know to what extent is their rights. And then you get this parent telling you, don't beat my child, it's her right. I mean, I'm on my way walking, going back home, then you meet a gentleman, 40s, 30s, 50s, standing with a girl of 14 or 15, and you try to ask, what are you doing here? She will ask you, she will reply you, who are you?
And when it goes to the parent, they will say, it's her right.
Yeah, it's her right, you know. Probably she was just talking, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a friend. Oh, our friend.
How do we bridge this gap of the laxity? If I can bring it in the layman's language, even when there is a case of assault, sexually assault, and it could be rape or defilement. They loosely take it off. Yeah, but they wanna, and you know, it's so loose talk.
Yeah.
Compared to the magnitude of the crime that has been committed. So what do we do to bridge this gap? Where do we come in as citizens to drum up and we say we need to change this, we need to appreciate this and change the entire conversation?
I think I would first of all want to call upon all the CSOs. Let's go back on a drawing board. See, look at it, where did we go wrong in the first place? You know? Right now I would say that it is our generation. Some of us, when we were growing up, the law that talks about, is it defilement? Something like that. It was really active. And today it's no more. You know those days when your parent used to like find you standing with a girl, or the community people sing with a young girl, your parents would be like, bagenda kusiba.
Yeah.
So we need to bring back that fear in Ugandans. Let them know that this law works.
Oh yeah.
This law works. You see why people are very relaxed that they take these cases to police. And when they get to police, sometimes they don't receive justice. They're not given attention.
Oh yeah.
They will ask you, why are you there? But it's not this parent is, I mean, it's not her job or his job to go and do this.
Oh yeah.
We have police in place to go and find out what happened exactly.
Okay.
But sometimes police don't do that. They will just ask you at the front desk, what happened, tell us. Then after a few minutes or a while, they go get this guy. Some of these police officers, they claim they don't have fuel in their cars to go and pick whoever offended.
That disturbs my mind. Every time I hear, like for the case of Narule, where the police say that they didn't have fuel to take him to prison. Really?
That's the Uganda we are living in today, but we are not going to allow that. No. It is our generation, and we keep on telling people, all the elders, it is our generation.
We need to take charge of this.
We need to take charge of this.
Okay, now going forward, Mr. Mayanja, for the case of Nalude, she's pregnant. I think she's going into her 5th month now.
Yes.
When you saw this story, you picked interest in it. So how far are you with this particular case of Nalude?
You know, sometimes when I'm talking about child abuse, mainly sexually abused, I feel so touched. You know, sometimes I feel like even crying. I ask myself, what went wrong?
As a nation.
As a nation. We have all these politicians around, very busy in politics, saying we are going to fight for you, we are fighting for your rights, you vote for me. But what have you done?
For the young child.
For the young child.
Yeah.
Have you seen any politicians following up on Narule's case?
Well, not any of the one I know.
And they're busy telling Ugandans, you vote for me. I'm going to do this for you. You look at a young girl who is 14, being abused, sexually abused by a police officer. You know? Or anyone, a law enforcer, I will not say police officer, anyone enforcing the law.
And not within the confines of the law.
And then you come out to talk about this, and the next day you start hearing that, stop doing this, like those threats come around.
That's so sad. So what is happening with Narule's situation right now?
With Narule, we went at their home, we met with the parents or the guardians, we discussed.
That's the judge, right?
That's the judge. We had a long discussion. The LC chairperson, thank you so much for the great job you did. There are so many chairpersons who have relaxed and they don't do that. They don't do that anymore. You know, they get these cases and they just look on.
Oh yeah.
So, but you know, you were youth. Thank you for doing that. And we are actually trying to talk to LCs to come out and do the same.
The local leaders.
The local leaders to do the same. So with Narule, we went and met with Jaja. We consented with them. And we want to assure Ugandans, we are not going to sit. We are going to push this until we get justice for this young girl. Let it rain, let it shine. We are calling people on board, their CSOs. We have a partner called Sehad. We already wrote to them. We talked to them about this case. We are also trying to bring in other organizations. We want to stand together. We go to court on 16th to tell this judge that this is not right.
And this is what happened.
This is what happened.
Narule seems to stay with, the guardian is very old.
Yeah.
And this case seems to be sensitive. How protected is she that she cannot be harmed because she's already pregnant and you're already going to courts of law?
Yeah.
The perpetrator is still out there.
Yes.
And is powerful according to community levels. How protected is Narule?
Actually, for now, we are trying to put our trust in police. You had the police spokesperson. You know, sometimes when you don't tell them that we have trust in you, they will not believe you. They will sit and relax.
Okay.
We want to give them a task.
To protect Narule.
To protect Narule. We want to see, are you doing your job? We are done and tired of protecting you. We need them to protect Narule until we get justice. Because you had a spokesperson. They are aware of this gentleman. They know he was one of theirs.
Wow. So, according to your organization, do you have, because Narule is vulnerable here, I'm trying to root for her. Do you have an arrangement where you can possibly get her from, because she lives with a judge to cry out loud. And that's where they found her to, you know, do whatever they did. And there is an ongoing case that is going before the courts of law. And she stays with the judge and not with a strong brother who will fight off whoever is coming. How protected is she?
As I said, we are trying to connect or trying to talk to other organizations who are our partners to come on board to see how we can protect this young girl and also make it a case study for this nation to see. That's why we are not seated. We are trying to get her home within the other organizations that we work with to settle her in there until she gives birth, and also as we try to push for her justice.
Okay. Well, we'll take a break for now. That is the case we're still discussing about sexual assault when it gets to children. Those are juveniles and below age in the era of COVID-19. Be conscious of who you leave your child with and where do they play from. This is Morning at 10 TV. We'll be back in a bit.